creating custom Clash of Critters Fakemon for you! Welcome back, everyone, to the show where we select lucky commenters to spin a series of random wheels that give us factors for a Fakemon that we then create just for you. Today, we're going to be making 5 custom Fakemon with the added challenge of making them all fit into today's video sponsor, Clash of Critters. Because the last time we did this, I asked you all to pick your favorite out of the hundreds of critters that you can collect, evolve, and battle with, and you all picked some amazing ones that should make for some great Fakemon as long as the wheels play nice. So without further ado, let's get into it. And today's first one will be for Tryson Vasquez, whose favorite Tatari is GOONBUG, a critter who's actually a lot of people's favorites. I wonder why. So alright, Tryson, let's see what power level this GOONBUG-inspired Fakemon will be. An early route bug would probably make the most sense, and it had a mythical. Okay, yeah, that's pretty much the rarest result possible, and it's for GOONBUG. That is why. Now, mythicals usually don't evolve, but we do still spin this wheel where you have a small chance to get some, but none this time. And now let's see what typing this mythical bug is going to be. The bug type would be nice. Nope, it's the steel type. Not getting any easier. And steel light type. Our newest fan-made type. What is even going on? And the last step, before we see what this mythical steel light type GOONBUG will look like, let's see what its X factor is going to be, and it's an additional form. The GOONBUG magic is real. Your Fakemon is Luminite, the planet savior Fakemon. While it might not seem that powerful at first, don't let that fool you, as this GOONBUG-inspired creature is not at full power. This form is just for reconnaissance, as it's able to use its golden front horn to scan the universe for creatures in distress, before channeling all its energy forward, shooting through the cosmos at light speed, just like Beetle Knight's signature skill, Luminous Dash, and then landing right in front of the Pokemon in need and striking a heroic pose. And while at this point the aggressor usually laughs at this weird little insect, they don't stay laughing long, as Luminite swells with glowing energy and transforms into its night form. Now, based on GOONBUG's final evolution, Beetle Knight, this pulverizing paladin is the result of Luminite base form's new crazy signature ability, which states that the first time an ally would faint in battle, it hangs on with 1 HP instead, and is instantly switched out for Luminite in your party, who then enters this powerful new state. And while Luminite will then have to take the leftover damage that ally would have had to take, it still ensures your teammate's survival and gives you all the means for an epic counterattack. In terms of stats, Luminite is a powered-up mythical, so it obviously has insane stats, but particularly in physical attack. And for the shiny, I actually went with a reference to the original Beetle Knight, because for the base version of Luminite, I actually based it on Beetle Knight's glitter form. By feeding your critters special fruits, you get a chance at unlocking these sweet alternate color forms, which means not only does Clash of Critters have that creature capture aspect we all love, but it even scratches that shiny hunting itch too. And while the inspiration for the last Fakemon GOONBUG has become quite the well-known meme, it's still just one of the ton of amazing critters the game has, each sporting their own personalities, abilities, and strategies that'll make you want to collect every single one of them. And look, this is how you know the game is all about fun, because even the way you unlock Tatari is through this little pinball game. How fun is that? So if you want to check out Clash of Critters, make sure to use the link in my description to download the game for free. And as a bonus, you can enter these gift codes to get some epic in-game rewards. That's right, I'm even hooking you up with the GOONBUG code. Clash of Critters is seriously a super fun game, so again, make sure to check out that link. But now let's get into the second Fakemon. And this one will be for Matt Herrig, who wants us to use Sunflower, a super cheerful little sunflower. This should be fun. And let's start by seeing the power level of this plant, and it is going to be regular. Nothing wrong with that. And now let's see how many times it can evolve, and you are going to get 1, which makes you a classic 2-stage evolution line. Now let's see what typing we'll be working with. Your first type is the Ghost type. Okay, yeah, that is strange for a happy sunflower. And Ghost Rock. Okay, that is very odd. This is going to be difficult. And the last step, before we see which Fakemon's going to look like, let's see if it has an X factor, and you do a signature ability. Wow, this is gonna be tough. The first stage of your Fakemon is Spear Route, the Graveside Fakemon. This sprouting spirit takes the form of a flower and appears exclusively near the gravesite of those who were great and powerful trainers during their lives. It feels naturally drawn to their positive presence and honors them by turning itself into the item it sees other people put near gravestone, as it now guards the site with all their might, carrying the same cheerful and optimistic attitude as Sunflower's Prevo buddy, because it's so happy to be in the the presence of these battle legends. And when exposed to a dusk stone, it'll evolve into Eulagrind, who now honors the graves of legendary trainers, but in a much more of an odd way, as it uproots their headstones and takes them into battle with it, surfing on top of the stone just like how Soliflor surfs on its leaves, swiftly sliding around the battlefield, launching volleys of shadow balls from a variety of angles, before ripping into the air and crashing the stone down on the foe. As the trainer watches from the great beyond, feeling the mixed feelings of being happy to be in a battle again, but then again, it does seem a little disrespectful. And it's this creature's creepily wholesome methods that are reflected in its signature ability, Grave Greatness, which states that if Eulagrind switches into battle directly after an ally faints, it will gain a 1-stage boost to its attack and defense stats, as Eulagrind will feel fired up to honor their fallen comrade. In terms of stats, Eulagrind is quite fast with good special attack and surprisingly solid physical defense. And for the shiny, I went with this yellow color as a reference to the original Sunflor because I used the ghostly light blue of its glitter form as the color palette for Eulagrind. And today's third Fakemon will be for Dumpster Fire, who wants us to make one based on the Gem Snail line. Looks fun, let's hope we get a rock bug type. But of course, we'll start by seeing what power level we'll be working with, and it's regular again. Still nothing wrong with that. And now let's see how many times it can evolve, and we got 2, which makes you a full 3-stage evolution line. Now let's see this typing. Please be nice, please be nice, please be nice. It's fire, okay. I mean, I could see that working actually. And Fire Fairy. It's just one of those days, I guess. And the last step, before we see what your Fakemon looks like, let's see if it has an X Factor, and you do another signature move. Cool. The first stage of your Fakemon is Sluggar, the hard candy Fakemon. This sludgy snail is made completely of a super hot gelatin that produces an extreme heat to constantly radiate around it. But the strangest quality about it is the crystals growing on its shell, which for some reason have a tremendous taste, as the combination of extreme heat and sugar-like material its shell is made of causes these candy-like shards to erupt from its back at random, just like the crystals on Shard Snail, which is actually caused by an infectious ore disease. And at level 20, it'll evolve into Snacrust. Based on Shard Snail's evolution, Gem Snail, this Pokemon has accepted and embraced its crystalline appearance, even breaking off a few from its back to wear as makeshift earrings, giving it a stylish way to attract mates, with Snacrust in a constant contest against the fellow members of its species to have the most dripped out appearance possible. And at level 32, it'll evolve into Melmalize, a Jewel Snail inspired Fakemon that's actually very hard to find, as they're highly sought after by the many chefs across the custom region. Turns out the crystals that grow on its back are now so tasty that people are willing to pay high dollar for desserts featuring the sugary shards. In fact, eating the crystals is so good that Melmalize does it itself. That's right, when Melmalize gets hungry, they don't even have to forage for food, they simply reach back and scarf down on their own shell. And this self-providing food method is even reflected in its signature ability, Shell Snack, which states that at the end of every turn, Melmalize will heal itself for 1/16 of its max HP, giving it the exact same effect as the powerful item Leftovers without even having to use its item slot. In terms of stats, Melmalize is incredibly defensive with insane special defense and solid HP, but of course it's super slow. And for the shiny, I made its crystals green as a reference to Crystal Snail's glitter form. And today's fourth Fakemon will be for Lillian, who really likes Ignisnap. That's definitely one of my favorites too. So let's start by getting the power level we'll be using this time, and it's a pseudo legendary. That's epic and means that we're going to be making something super strong. Now every pseudo has been a 3-stage evolution line, but we still spin this wheel where you have a chance to get less than 3 or more, but you didn't get any this time. Now let's break out the typing wheel, which has not been friendly so far. Okay, I take it back. The dragon type is perfect for a reptile, but dragon grass type, that's a bit less optimal considering the Ignisnap line is fire, but you know what? I'll take it. And the last step, before we see what this pseudo legendary will look like, let's see if it has an X Factor, and none this time. Your first stage is Bulbink, the Bulbtail Fakemon. Inspired by Ignisnap's Prevo Blue Flick, as well as a gecko, this little guy can't really put up a fight, but still finds a way to survive thanks to a pretty gross ability. The plant substance that grows from its tail produces a funky odor that Bulbink brushes all across its habitat to cause all hunters who smell it to turn the other way, making it the perfect partner to take to a Yu-Gi-Oh! Tournament. Upon reaching level 41, it'll evolve into Scintile. Trainers interested in owning a Scintile will be very happy to learn that upon evolution, its tail no longer has a terrible smell, and instead starts to smell quite nice. However, it's not exactly something you want to be smelling, as Sentile have grown to be very territorial and aggressive, and use their aromas to mark off their territory, attacking any who get close. So if you're out in the wild and think to yourself, what's that great smell? That's actually a great sign that you need to run. And upon reaching level 56, it'll evolve into a Romol, a giant reptilian behemoth who's as agile as it is powerful. It moves through the forests in complete silence, ripping away any prey it sees into the deep brush before feasting down on them. In terms of stats, a Romol is a super speedy physical attacker that also has solid physical defense. And for the shiny, I actually went with this bright pink color as a reference to Ignisnap's evolution New Flame Mander's glitter form. And today's 5th Fakemon will be for Antonio Barba, who wants one based on a really cool critter, Pyroclobster, a heroic lobster with flaming fists. So let's start by seeing what power level this lobster will have, and it's regular. Nothing wrong with that. And let's see how many times this lobster will be able to evolve, and we got 0, which means you're actually a basic Fakemon. Now let's face this typing wheel one more time. A lot of good options, a lot of bad. Okay, water. It's a lobster. That can definitely work. It's a fire lobster, but you know, and water electric. You know what? That's close enough. And the last step, before we see which Fakemon's gonna look like, let's see if it has an X factor, and you do, an additional form. That's amazing. Your Fakemon is Thetraclaw, the misguided hero Fakemon. Just like Shrimp Pyro, this lobster has a bit of main character syndrome and is obsessed with being seen as a hero, to the point where if even for 1 second Thetraclaw detects someone doing something wrong, it will fill its arms with electricity before launching an explosive plasma punch right to the perceived evildoer's chest, launching them into the sky whether they robbed a bank or got a simple parking ticket. And if that sounds extreme, just know its critter counterpart did the same thing to a gopher. But if it's ever truly on its last legs, it can enter its last stand form, which Thetraclaw turns into after it gets hit once? Yeah, that's right. In a super overdramatic move, Thetraclaw will see any damage taken as a heroic final stand, and use every bit of energy it has in its entire body, powering its attack stat up to an insane 200 for just one turn, where right after it faints instantly, making for a plenty powerful Fakemon that probably needs to lay off the anime. In terms of stats, Thetraclaw mostly focuses on physical attack, which gets a lot more insane in its other form. And for the shiny, we went with one more reference to the glitter form. If you like today's episode and want to be featured in a potential part 3, then make sure to download Clash of Critters by using the link in my description, because not only can you use these codes for some in-game rewards right now, but if you play the game and then comment down below what your favorite critter ends up being, then we just may use your comment to make a Fakemon the next time around. So make sure to download Clash of Critters, and thank you all so much for letting me do these sponsored videos. They help so much with the crazy projects we do over here. Speaking of which, I'll see you all in the next one, but until then, peace.